And earlier this month, the World Health Organization called a new strand of the coronavirus a variant of concern. This particular variant was first found from India. An infectious disease specialist in Huntsville says as long as there is transmission, these mutations will continue to happen. He mentions that even though there is evidence of new variants and strains, it's still important to get vaccinated to decrease transmission.
We don't want much transmission. We want to reach where there's no cases or almost zero cases. Because if there's still 10, 15, higher than that, there's chances of mutation. And with chances of mutation, there's chances of a new variant, a new problem.
Hassoun also says following recommended precautions can help prevent the virus from further mutating as well.